Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cole, and in today's video we are looking at my LEGO model of the Zenvo TSR-S. Not just any TSR-S, but Shmi 150's Zenvo TSR-S. Now, if you'd like to get the instructions for this model to build it yourself, they're available at the link in the description below for free, because we hit 10,000, and so this is kind of like our 10,000 special model here. And so yeah, the instructions are free this time, and although they might be more free instructions in the future, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's what we're doing for this model. Now you guys know, a little while back, me and my brother designed this Zenvo factory model based on Shmi's Road to Zenvo series, and so I figured, I should probably build a Zenvo TSR-S to go with it. And so here we have it. Now Zenvo is kind of an interesting brand, it's just like this Danish company. It's made various kind of variations of this V8 mid-engine supercar, and so this is like the latest version, the TSR-S, which is like your super duper track focused version with the big wing. And I think it's a really cool car. If you watch a lot of videos on it, everybody says it's very raw. It's a lot of like rawness to it. And so yeah, I think it's a really cool car, and really cool looking car, definitely. And yeah, I guess that's kind of what I think about Zenvo. Not that that was really very much, but anyway. So let's begin the kind of exterior model overview itself, and then we'll go into like the design and the techniques and stuff of the model. So in the front here, we have a very aggressive front splitter. As you can see, we also have the green accents around this car. One thing I should point out is obviously we tried to build this in the purple and green Shmi 150 color scheme, which I think looks really good in real life and also works really good on the model. Now the thing is, LEGO's selection of dark purple parts is limited, so we are using some blue parts and some dark blue parts here. Although we did use dark blue intentionally for the hood and the roof intake, because it actually looks like the dark purple carbon in real life. But as you can see, there's some brackets and stuff that we could not get in purple, and so they are blue here because it looks fairly similar. There are quite a few less green accents on here than the real car, because obviously we can't do like little pinstripes and things with actual LEGO pieces, so yeah. Then on the front here, as you can see, we have the super aggressive headlight design using these curved slopes, or wedge slopes, I guess, and these are mounted a very interesting technique, which I will show you guys when I go over the techniques, because we're going to try something slightly different with this video. Then we have the hood, which is also very angry looking and using some very interesting techniques to get it at this angle. You see we have like the hood itself sitting at an angle, and you have on either side these wedge plates sitting at a slightly different angle, and then you have these two angled tiles, which are on bar or 1x1 round plates with bars. And yeah, it just all comes together quite nicely. Then on the sides, we have this technique, which is kind of a combination of techniques from the Koenigsegg Gesco and Ford GT MOCs that I've made. Basically, we have a ball joint, which is holding up this door panel, and then we have this little clip piece, which is supporting the door panel at an angle, which I think looks really good. Allows you to get some really kind of unusual and very subtle slopes in the door panels of cars. And you have the side skirt along the bottom, really simple, just some brackets and a wedge plate there at the end for the intake. Then moving around the back, we have just kind of some general standard building techniques around the rear fender. Then we actually get to the back. It's extremely complicated rear end design. Definitely one of my favorites that I've built so far, just because there's so many cool techniques to go into it. You have the tail lights with the intakes around them. You have the rear diffuser, and you have these upside down kind of side parts. And you have this whole kind of center area with the exhausts and the wing. The wing is using some very interesting techniques as well to get it mounted on there, and it actually does kind of tilt like the real car, which has this crazy wing. When you go around a corner, basically the wing tilts to kind of make the car handle better, I guess. And so it's kind of integrated here unintentionally. I wasn't intending to make it tilt, but actually it does, and so that's kind of cool. And then we have the kind of roof, I guess, this kind of just whole roof area, which is honestly one of the probably the hardest part to design in a lot of models I built, because with models I'm designing now, I really kind of focus on trying to get the roof at the right level and to line everything up quite nicely with the rear C-pillars to make everything look clean up there as well. And so yeah, this took a lot of work to try and get the roof at the right level. Basically, it's at using brackets to get it at a half plate level, I think that is, and then it's tilted back, and then yeah, it was quite a challenge to get it looking right, or not looking right, but just at the right angle and at the right height. But in the end, it worked, and it looks really good. And then behind that, obviously, you have the kind of rear engine cover area with the roof intake, and then up front, you have the standard kind of supercar bar windshield technique, which is again using blue bars because they don't exist in purple. And then we have the interior, which is pretty simple, doesn't fit minifigures. Again, with most of my models now, I'm kind of going for more of just exterior detail and prioritizing that considerably over interior detail, although we do have the full interior with seats, steering wheel, center console, and gear selector and all that kind of stuff. Although this is not for minifigures because it's a very tight interior. And yeah, that's it for the kind of design model overview. Now let's actually look at the design of itself, I suppose. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the model apart and then rebuild it, and that way you guys can see how it goes together, because this is already a model with free instructions. This is not intended to be a tutorial, but you could probably use it as one. And I think this should be cool, so that way I can kind of showcase some of the interesting techniques that are used in this model. Alright, there we go. So what I thought we would try is basically, I'm going to take the model apart and then rebuild it and show you guys all the interesting techniques that are used. And also this camera angle is really awkward. But here we go. Alright, the transition was interesting, wasn't it? So basically, the model starts out with this base plate right here. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. We have this jumper plate up in the back. I'll show you guys what that does in a minute. You have these snot bricks, or plates and stuff on the side to connect the side skirts. Up in front, you have basically the beginnings of the grill. Let's see, focus on that. You can see using those bar pieces with the round plate at the end, super handy parts. Lots of jumper plates going on, also the center console, and we actually tried to integrate pedals into this model, which is not something that you can even see on the model, but I thought it was kind of a cool detail. Also, I keep integrating jumper plates into the into the floor of models, even though they can't fit minifigures. I don't know why I keep doing that. I should probably stop, because otherwise it looks like they can't fit minifigures. So basically, from there, we then add the side skirts, which are pretty simple, really just brackets, and then you have the intake at the back. So we have one on this side. And then around the back, we have the upside down mounted rear diffuser bits, as you can see here, using this really cool technique, which involves the plate with clip and then the 1x1 round plate or tile with bar on the back, and that basically allows me to mount them upside down like that, which is really handy, just like that. And then for the center part of the rear diffuser, we have this very interesting technique, which is basically a standard rear diffuser, and in the back you have these round plates with holes in them, and through that we've got these more plates with bars, and this is a super handy part. This is kind of a technique that was used in the front of the Countach set, which allows you to mount stuff at this kind of interesting height. So it all lines up quite nicely right there. Then around the front, we have these basically corner bits with a front splitter. These are really simple, just kind of some stacked up plates and tiles. This is where things start to get a little bit crazy. We have the seat design, which as you can see is mounted with quite an interesting technique. We have this Technic brick that's sideways in the back of it, and then we have this lightsaber hilt kind of piece in the back of that. And basically, that does is that when we install it in between here, we have this lightsaber hilt sticking out right there, and that gives us basically like a half plate height adjustment thing. And then we have the dashboard, which is pretty simple, just a steering wheel. You have the center console and or center screen, which is actually on the real Zenvo. They actually just use an iPad, which I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of a funny like quirk, I guess. And then yeah, basically that goes right above the pedals and just right in the center there, just like that. And then we have door panels, which is kind of a very big section. So we have basically mounted all ball joints right there, one of my favorite techniques. You have some plates on the inside to make it look a bit cleaner, as well as this plate with clip, which kind of holds it up at an angle. You have the rear view mirrors on there, which again are in dark blue because they don't exist in purple. You have the kind of intake, not really intake, it does lead to an intake on the real car, I think, in the front. But this channel in the side of the door, and that basically just mounts right in the front here. And slide in there. I get it in there just like that. Boom. And then around the front, we install the headlights with this super interesting technique. Basically, the headlight is like that. Sorry, I'm getting my camera in focus. There's the headlight using a plate, round plate with a bar on the back, and then we have this robot arm basically connected to that. So it's really kind of complicated, I guess, but it goes on there like that, and it actually works quite nicely, pretty solid. And then above that, for the kind of covering bit, we have this crazy thing, which doesn't seem like it should work, but in my head, but it does. Basically, 1x1 round plate with bar, 1x1 bar holder with a clip on the end, and then 1x1 round plate with a bar on the end on the bottom, and that all connects to a wedge plate on top, which kind of goes right back here behind the headlight, and somehow that all connects, and that leads to this super interesting looking assembly right there. Then on the back, we have some even more interesting techniques. So we have the exhaust, which is basically mounted like that. You guys can see a clip piece on there. Candlestick piece is super handy for the exhausts, and I'm very glad that they made them in the Elva set in gunmetal, or whatever color this is called. We have this crazy assembly, just basically a brick, and you have this 1x1 round plate with the ring on 2 studs on either side and the ends, and then you have plates facing both directions on there. Then you have these brackets, and you have some curved slopes, and that just goes right on top of this jumper plate right there. This is where things start to get a little bit crazy, or crazier, I guess. Crazy car, crazy techniques. I think it all works together quite nicely. So yeah, basically that goes right there. Crazy. Then we have this crazy thing, and this is probably the craziest part of the model, and I know I keep saying crazy. But yeah, basically we have some bricks, we have some more 1x1 round plates with bars, we have some robot arms, we have more 1x1 round plates with bars, we have some round plates which go to brackets, which have the taillights on the end, and that all kind of slides in right here, and it actually fits together quite nicely. And these curved slopes kind of line up with the wedge plates right there, which works quite nicely. And then around front we have the hood kind of assembly, which is pretty simple, although we are using some interesting techniques back here to get that everything to line up kind of offset, or at least to offset this 1x3 plate in the front there. And that's just on a hinge brick, and that just goes right up front here. Then around back we have another one of my favorite techniques, which is basically how do we get these wedge plates to sit at the corners, and to do that we must use this 1x6 plate or tile, and to do that we must connect the 1x6 tile to something, and so we're going to use this 1x4 plate, and to connect that 1x4 plate we'll connect it right here. We have to fill in the gaps around it, and so to do that we'll use these tiles, and once we use these tiles we connect this. And basically how this works is that you have this 1x4 plate with the stud back here that connects to your 1x6 tile, and that 1x6 tile connects to the two wedge plates, and so basically it allows to only have one stud here, which makes it look a lot cleaner than saying having multiple studs back here. Then we have your roof intake, roof snorkel, again a really simple design. It sits right there on top of the bracket to get it at an offset height, and then on either side of that we have this hinge brick with tiles to form the C-pillar. That's on a jumper plate, which goes on top of this offset, or this lightsaber hilt thing, which holds it at like a half plate height, which again was a little bit tricky to figure out, but it's worth it because it looks really good in the end. Like that. We have the roof, which is again pretty simple, 5 studs wide, because most supercars work best with a 5 stud wide roof. You have these brackets on either side to kind of fill in the rear window area, and you have a little bit of the roof snorkel on there. Basically just sits right on top, and there we go, just like that. Not too hard, just get it in the right position, and boom, there we go. And then finally, there's a Wingless Zenvo site, in case you're wondering, pretty cool. And finally we have the wing, which goes on the back here, and this is using some more bar pieces with plates on the end, and you have this bar holder with clip, and then you have more bar pieces with 1x1 plates on the end. Connected to this 1x8 tile, which then has more clips on it with screwdrivers to form the kind of hydraulic bits, and you have brackets on the end to form the end plates. That just connects to these brackets right here. It's a little bit of a fragile assembly, but I think it'll go on there. There we go, boom. And there we have the completed model. Now, if you guys like this section of the video where I show how it goes together, let me know, and we'll probably do more in the future. And so I suppose that's it for today's video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this model. Like I said, the instructions are free at the link in the description below at Rickwell. Thanks to Smree for featuring this model on his Instagram page. That was pretty exciting. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.